GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, I'm CJ Waterhouse. Culture Montreal is pressing the province for 3% of the budget for the arts, while a traffic controller was critically injured after a plane collision on our runways. Expect a yellow thunderstorm warning and moderate traffic across the island. Over to you, Jeff.
The 901 Taschereau bus line begins service today, connecting Montreal's South Shore neighborhoods from Verdun to St. Laurent with hourly departures during peak periods.
The route includes 15 stops, featuring new low-floor buses equipped with Wi-Fi, bike racks, and priority seating for seniors and passengers with reduced mobility.
Fares for the 901 line match standard bus rates with monthly passes accepted. The service operates from 6 in the morning until midnight on weekdays.
The launch includes free rides for the first week to encourage ridership among local residents. Lots to get to, let's begin. Here are our top stories.
Culture Montreal presented 37 recommendations urging the Quebec government to earmark 3% of the provincial budget for the arts, aiming to boost funding for cultural institutions across the province. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Culture Montreal has just handed the Quebec government a packet of 37 recommendations, all urging the province to set aside 3% of its overall budget for the cultural sector. The proposal, delivered this morning at the city's cultural center, argues that a dedicated share would shore up funding for museums, theaters, festivals, and community arts programs across the province. Representatives from the advocacy group pointed to recent cuts and the growing demand for space and resources among artists. They asked officials to act quickly, citing the economic and social benefits of a thriving arts scene. The request comes as Quebec prepares its next fiscal plan, and officials are expected to review the recommendations in the coming weeks. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Plateau.
Montreal police say a traffic controller was critically injured after being struck by an aircraft on a work site, prompting an investigation and referral to the Provincial Workplace Safety Commission. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
An air traffic controller was struck by an aircraft while on duty, sustaining critical injuries that have been classified as a workplace accident. Emergency crews rushed the controller to hospital, where doctors say the injuries are life-threatening. The Montreal Police Service has taken charge of the investigation, securing the scene and gathering witness statements. Police officials said the case will be forwarded to the Provincial Commission on Standards, Equity, Health and Safety at Work for a formal safety review. Authorities are examining how the aircraft entered the controller's work zone and whether protocols were followed. The incident occurred on August 25, 2026 in the city of Montreal. Air traffic in the nearby sector is paused while investigators assess the site and reroute flights. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
West Island residents and the mayor clash over an 18th-century farmhouse, debating restoration versus leaving the deteriorating structure untouched amid safety concerns. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
Residents gathered outside the crumbling stone farmhouse on the outskirts of the West Island, pointing to cracked walls and a sagging roof. The building, whose timber frame dates back to the 18th century, has become the flashpoint of a heated debate. Mayor Jean Tremblay stood with a handful of supporters, urging the council to fund a full restoration, while a group of homeowners argued the structure is beyond repair and poses a public safety risk. Municipal engineers warned that the rotting beams and failing foundation could collapse if left unattended. The town's Heritage Committee is reviewing a proposal to either stabilize the site for future study or approve demolition, leaving the community divided. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, West Island.
A Montreal judge has refused bail, keeping an asylum seeker in custody after accusations he stole $180,000 from Quebec's social assistance program and previously swindled €1 million from Spain. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
The court in Montreal ordered an asylum seeker to stay behind bars until his trial, rejecting his request for bail. Prosecutors say the man used several false identities to obtain €1 million from the Spanish government and then diverted $180,000 from Quebec's social assistance program. He now faces charges of fraud and theft of public funds. The judge noted the seriousness of the alleged scheme and the risk of flight, so custody will continue while the case proceeds. The hearing on August 25, 2026 highlighted that the alleged scheme crossed Europe and Canada. Defense asked for release, but the judge kept the detention. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
The Quebec Order of Social Workers unveiled 5 recommendations to reinforce the province's social service system, citing election season concerns over program adequacy. Valerie Fernandez outlined the proposals. Remy Gaudreau has the full story.
At a press briefing today, Valerie Fernandez of the Quebec Order of Social Workers and Family Therapists unveiled a set of 5 concrete recommendations aimed at shoring up the province's social service network. The plan calls for targeted investments, workforce enhancements, better coordination between agencies, expanded access for vulnerable populations, and a framework for ongoing evaluation. Officials said the measures are designed to address gaps that have become especially visible as the provincial election campaign intensifies, with voters questioning the adequacy of existing support programs. The order hopes the proposals will spark dialogue among policymakers and lay the groundwork for a more resilient social safety net across Quebec. Remy Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Up next, a yellow thunderstorm warning could affect our streets later today, so stay tuned for safety tips. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. A yellow thunderstorm warning was issued for Montreal Island yesterday after Quebec's weather service identified a risk of intense, violent storms. Residents were advised to stay alert. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Officials have issued a yellow alert for violent thunderstorms across Montreal Island as conditions shift toward intense, fast-moving cells. The Provincial Weather Service flagged a heightened risk of strong winds, large hail and brief but heavy downpours, prompting the warning on the 24th of August. Under a yellow alert, residents can expect storms that are more severe than typical summer showers but not yet at the most dangerous level. Some neighborhoods have reported brief power interruptions, and drivers are advised to exercise caution on slick, wet roads. Authorities are urging people to secure loose items, avoid open fields during peak activity, and stay tuned to local updates as the system moves eastward through the city. The alert remains in effect until conditions subside. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Montreal. The 901 Taschereau bus route began service today on Montreal's South Shore, linking previously separate transit territories into a unified network. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
The new 901 Taschereau bus line rolled out this morning, stitching together transit zones that have operated independently for years on the South Shore. Riders board at the renovated terminal on Taschereau Street, where the first vehicle departed with a mix of commuters and seniors. The route weaves through the former municipal borders of Boucherville, St. Louis and Longueuil, providing a single fare system for the first time. Officials in the Regional Transit Authority said the service will ease transfers and cut travel times across the corridor. As the bus pulled away, commuters cheered, noting the convenience of a unified network after decades of fragmented service. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, South Shore.
Mayor Valerie Plante warned that recent U.S. tariff hikes on imports could severely impact Montreal's economy, threatening local businesses and employment. She called the situation extremely worrying. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
The mayor warned that the recent United States tariffs on imports are posing a serious threat to Montreal's economy. He said the heightened duties are already squeezing local manufacturers and retailers, making it harder for them to stay competitive. The city's export-dependent sectors, especially aerospace and food processing, could see profit margins shrink as costs rise. Officials are monitoring the situation closely, fearing reduced investment and job losses if the trade pressure continues. The mayor urged provincial and federal partners to seek relief measures, emphasizing that the city cannot afford a prolonged hit to its growth trajectory. He reiterated the need for swift dialogue with Washington to mitigate the economic fallout. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
Around 20 mayors from the Laurentides and Lanaudière regions are urging the province to rebalance and boost public transit funding as rapid growth strains existing services. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
20 mayors from municipalities north of Montreal are urging the province to rebalance and boost funding for collective transportation. In the Laurentides and Lanaudière regions, they say rapid population growth has outpaced the current transit network, leaving commuters with longer waits and overcrowded buses. The officials gathered in a town hall this morning, outlining a request for additional dollars to expand routes, increase service frequency, and modernize fleets. Their appeal arrives as Quebec gears up for a provincial election, where transit financing is already surfacing as a key campaign topic. Provincial leaders have yet to respond, but the mayors warned that without swift action, the region's mobility challenges could worsen. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Laurentides.
LaSalle College has entered creditor protection and suspended classes after the provincial government withheld funding over an unpaid fine of $30 million. The move underscores financial strain on private institutions. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
At LaSalle College, administrators have filed for creditor protection as the institution halts all classes pending a resolution of its financial crisis. The move follows a provincial decision to withhold funding after the school failed to pay a $30 million fine. With the funding block in place, the college could not meet its payroll and operating costs, prompting the protection filing and the suspension of instruction for students across the campus. Officials say the protection filing will allow the school to restructure its debts, while negotiations continue with the province over the outstanding fine. The campus remains closed as staff and students await further announcements. Local businesses nearby have reported a drop in foot traffic as the campus doors stay shut. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Montreal. Let's get a look at your afternoon forecast with our meteorologist, staying ahead of the storm.
A weak northwest jet is slicing the low pressure, keeping clouds in place and stalling any rain. On this date, Montreal once baked to 32.9 degrees in 2021, a blistering mark set during a lingering heat wave that pushed the surrounding plains northward. The coldest reading fell to 11 degrees in 2017, recorded during an Arctic dip that saw polar air surge south along the jet. Normal highs hover around 23 degrees and lows near 16, so today's 22-degree peak feels modest, while the 15-degree night aligns with long-term averages. The live radar screen is spotless across the province. No echoes stretch from the St. Lawrence Basin to the Laurentians, confirming the dry air mass anchored by the weakening low. With the northwest jet threading aloft at 40 kilometers per hour, any disturbance would be sheared eastward, but none is present. Expect the clear pattern to persist as we turn to the noon outlook. At noon, Montreal sits at 18 degrees with mostly cloudy skies and a humidity of 86%. The wind is a gentle 8 kilometers per hour from the west, and the dew point rests at 16 degrees, keeping the air comfortably moist. Pressure is near average but easing lower, signaling a subtle shift toward unsettled conditions, while the jet stream rides overhead from the northwest at 40 kilometers per hour, capping any surface lift. The UV index reads 5. No wind gusts exceed 25 kilometers per hour, and there are no active weather alerts. Temperatures will climb to 20 degrees by early afternoon, peak at 22 degrees around 3, then ease back to 20 degrees by sunset at 7:45, with clouds remaining partly thick. Looking ahead, Wednesday brings an overcast day with a high of 23 degrees and a low of 15, the cloud cover keeping temperatures modest. Thursday flips to a warmer spell, reaching 26 degrees at the peak, but a slow-moving front will drop light rain with a 60% chance, nudging the low to 18. Friday clears dramatically, offering a crisp 22-degree high and a low of 16 under a blue sky. Saturday remains mild, 23 degrees high and 16 low, with only scattered clouds. Sunday returns a hint of moisture, 25 degrees at the warmest, and a light rain chance of 35% as the low stays 16. The pattern showcases a mid-week warm surge punctuated by brief showers. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, we break down today's traffic snarls, spotlight the 60-year barbershop milestone, and discuss the Canadians' rising prospect. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
The biggest slowdown right now is a major hindrance on Boulevard St. Laurent, where lane closures have added up to 15 minutes between downtown and the Plateau. On Autoroute 20 eastbound near Rue St. Patrick, a minor hindrance is slowing traffic toward the airport. A small collision on Rue Sherbrooke West holds up one lane but should clear soon. Roadwork on Rue Notre Dame East continues with reduced speed and stop and go. Transit impacts include Green Line delays as crews maintain signals between Barrie-Ucam and Papineau. Barrie-Ucam station stays closed for cleaning until 12 o'clock. Bus 747 runs on a 15-minute interval instead of 10. Exo Line 2 sees 10 to 20-minute delays from a mechanical issue, and RTL Bus 45 runs 5 to 10 minutes late due to traffic. Drivers heading east on Rue St. Denis should anticipate similar delays as traffic builds toward the evening rush. Expect lingering congestion through the afternoon, especially on east-west routes.
MUTEK turns Montreal into the center of the universe for electronic music and digital art from August 25 to 30, marking the 27th edition with immersive installations and cutting-edge performances that any sound seeker can't miss. At Time Out Market, a Quebec microbrewery has repurposed a 1946 movie theater into a brewing hub. You can taste Les Grands Boys craft beers, from a crisp Pilsner to a juicy NEIPA, while sipping history in a single glass. Tavola Italiana now celebrates the perfect Italian dinner at the market, offering handmade pastas, thoughtfully paired wines, and a communal table that turns a meal into a memorable gathering. And for a quick summer refresh, the Market's Guide highlights 5 cool drinks, cocktails, mocktails, craft beer, wine, and even matcha, so you can stay chilled while you wander the stalls. And now here's Jason with sports.
The Habs' future takes shape as young talent and division battles heat up. Florian Exekaj lands at 14 on the Canadians' under-25 list, a nod to his relentless grind and surprising scoring touch. After a rookie season with 24 goals in Laval, he posted 17 goals and 12 assists this year, positioning him as a viable depth forward option for Montreal's upcoming roster. Nick Suzuki's 9th best center ranking underscores the Atlantic Division's depth, turning the Habs' schedule into a group of death. With rivals sharpening, Montreal must lean on its core while watching Cal Macker's pending Colorado deal, a move that could reshape the division's power balance. Owen Beck climbs to 15 on the under-25 list, reflecting steady progress since his 2022 draft. 27 NHL games and his first Habs goal last season demonstrate a growing role, suggesting he could earn more minutes on the second line as the club refines its forward depth. Keep an eye on the roster shuffle as the season looms.
Thanks, Jason. Coiffure Pour Homs in Montreal's West Island marks 60 years of cutting hair and shaping community. This family-run barbershop has been a daily stop for generations, offering classic cuts, hot towel shaves, and a familiar smile that feels like a hometown greeting. Over the decades, the shop has watched the neighborhood grow, welcoming newcomers while keeping the old-school vibe that made it a fixture on the corner. Today, the owners are celebrating with a special anniversary week, featuring complimentary trims for longtime patrons and a showcase of local artists on the walls. It's more than a haircut, it's a living piece of Montreal's story, reminding us that the city's strength lives in places like this. Stay with us as we unpack Vincent Marisol's move to the Taschereau riding for the Parti Québécois. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. The city's biggest electronic music and digital arts festival kicks off this week, drawing innovators from around the globe to the heart of the Quartier des Spectacles. With immersive installations and non-stop beats, MUTEK's 27th edition promises to reshape the downtown vibe. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks CJ Waterhouse. I'm standing on St. Catherine Street, the neon glow of the MUTEK banners reflecting off the wet pavement as a steady pulse of bass rolls through the crowd. The scent of street food vendors mingles with the metallic tang of the nearby metro, while giant LED screens flicker with glitch art from the Violent Magic Orchestra's latest set. Inside the pop cap, a guy called Gerald spins a hypnotic synth line, his hands moving like a conductor over a sea of heads nodding in unison. Over by the Place des Arts, Ben UFO drops a razor-sharp breakbeat that sends the audience into a collective gasp, the crowd's faces lit by strobe lights and the glow of handheld devices streaming the performance live. This is the 27th edition of MUTEK, running from August 25 through 30, 2026, turning the Quartier des Spectacles into a living laboratory of sound and vision. For many young creators, MUTEK is a launchpad where digital dreams become shared experiences. Carl Dumont virtually at Quartier des Spectacles. Welcome back. Former La Presse columnist Vincent Marisol is leaving the Rosemont seat to contest the Taschereau riding for the Parti Québécois, marking a strategic shift ahead of the upcoming provincial election. Colette Barbeau has the full story.
Vincent Marisol, a former La Presse columnist and former member for Rosemont, announced today that he is abandoning the Rosemont riding to contest the upcoming election in the Taschereau district under the Parti Québécois banner. The shift marks his first foray into a new constituency, with campaign headquarters already set up on St. Claude Street. Marisol said the move reflects his desire to bring his experience to a different part of the city and to support the PQ's platform on language and social policies. Party officials confirmed his candidacy this afternoon, adding that they expect his profile to boost the PQ's presence in the traditionally competitive Taschereau riding. Colette Barbeau, GMNA News, Taschereau. Canada has pledged $11.3 billion to fund 6 new icebreakers built in Quebec, delivering on a 2019 promise to modernize the Coast Guard fleet and boost the province's shipbuilding sector. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Federal officials unveiled a commitment of $11.3 billion to build 6 new icebreakers at shipyards across Quebec. The announcement, delivered by Prime Minister Mark Carney, fulfills a promise made in 2019 to modernize the Canadian Coast Guard's fleet. Construction contracts will flow to the province's shipbuilding firms, a move expected to create thousands of jobs and keep the Arctic rescue capability up to date. The vessels are slated to join the Coast Guard over the next decade, enhancing patrol and emergency response in northern waters. The funding also signals a boost for Quebec's industrial base as the government pushes forward with the project. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Quebec.
Thanks for joining us, Montreal. Today's reminder of the brave traffic controller who faced a plane collision underscores the resilience of our city. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll be back tomorrow with more of the stories that matter. Enjoy the afternoon and keep an eye on the upcoming community updates.